Thank you, James. I totally agree with you. I'm also a true believer, and as long as you see people working in the technology, eventually people will realize that everything they are aimed to solve is already solved on Polkadot. And I've seen a lot of comments about this, like, "Oh, we want to do this, we want to do that." Well, it's already solved and it's already available on Polkadot. One question. At DFG, I saw that you released also your 2022 annual report. What are your highlights or the takeaways from that report in overall? What are your thoughts?
Sure. Thank you, Chris. Uh, my and for sure, it's really a good teamwork by the DFG research team, and also thanks for other the data providers in the industry. So we've been able to do this for work on this for a couple for months, and we think we highlight a lot of data of Polkadot ecosystem in last year. One thing I want to just be honest, Polkadot have problem, right? So Polkadot also have good things. So that's the fact. My understanding, more broadly speaking, I think as I also comment on Solar's Twitter yesterday. So there's two things really need to be solved by Polkadot. The first is really about the inflation cause. After a certain transfer to proof of stake, you can see based on the way they design their tokens, uh, it's really if the transaction if it's not a super bear market with not a lot of transaction, then inflation is negative on Ethereum. That's why Ethereum performed pretty well during the last year, right? So it's really it's even stronger than Bitcoin. It's very hard, but that's the reason why Ethereum is good. On the token matrix side, Polkadot is good, but inflation is slightly too high because you got kind of like a if you do staking, then you have the reward is 15. That's really a big number, which is good for the DAO holder, but in the long term for the health, design a healthy kind of token economy, then you cannot have such big inflation. Inflation could be somewhere like a 2 to 5%. That's more healthy. So this is really the one problem which potentially prevent Polkadot by from moving forward. But I'm not sure what Web3 Foundation or Parity guys think about this. I think this is really something I want to highlight here. The second is really about functionality of the DAO token. Because we can see a parachain parachain auction is it's a really a decent innovation, but it's really have a lot of problem in the bear market, right? So we can see, for this parachain, because the lack of you know uh, attention in the bear market for basically all the project, then people are not going to willing to put in a lot of money on that, right? For the first two, like Moving or Kala, they pay really crazy money on getting a purchase slot. But if you want to get a purchase slot for number 30, then it's going to be very easy and cheap, right? So that's a huge gap for the first one and the number 30. This is not going to be pretty well because there's no difference for on the tech side on the other side for the first one and for the 31, right? So this is a problem, especially in the bear market. I don't think people were going to pay a lot of money on that. um that's one of the most important functionality of the DAO token, right? You use that to do the purchase auction. But other than that, for the normal ones like stakings, that's the ones every layer one protocol will have. But beside that, what is really the things trying to make sure people using DAO is really the hard question here. um I guess we either we will have a strong DeFi ecosystem on the Patreon side, which people using a lot of the native token of this layer one Patreon or Polkadot, the DAO token, right? So that is one thing. The other thing is really about whether we can see more new innovations on different sector, whether it's social fi, metaverse or whatever, then which will potentially have more functionality of providing more functionality of the DAO token. So this is really the problem here. I would say to the inflation problem and also the functionality problem. Uh, but these two are more like the problem on the token side. I think with more people discuss that, with the community more discuss that, it could be solved. It could be solved eventually. On the other hand, we will still see a lot of progress and the positive thing about Polkadot. For example, if you check the GitHub activities like every day, you can see Polkadot and Kusama is always top one there. So it's crazy, there are so many layer one protocol there, but Polkadot and Kusama is always top one. And the other things we will see, all the project in the Polkadot ecosystem are super loyal to the ecosystem. I don't see a lot of people moving here and there. But for the other ecosystem, is very different, right? So I saw a project which built on Terra first, then moving to Solana, right now moving to Aptos, which is crazy. You are only a new project, but you're moving to 3 different layer one ecosystem. This is crazy. But we don't see things happen in the Polkadot ecosystem. We may see more project coming to the place, but we are not seeing the project leaving the Polkadot space. So this is really also super positive for the long term growth of the Polkadot ecosystem. There's of course a few other things need to be noticed. The small things like whether Polkadot can have a big conference annually, whether of course right now last year there's 4 different places for conference. It's not super good. It's probably better still to holding a huge conference in one place. And for the marketing side, whether Polkadot can be more localized in different countries. For example, I've been in Vietnam late November last year. It's really an emerging market. Polkadot can be more focused on. We see other layer one protocol already there. I'm not saying that's the only country. That could be 20 or 30 different countries. Polkadot need to have more adoptions. Need to probably have more localized teams help doing that adoptions, right? So there's a lot of also detailed things that we need to think about for the Polkadot ecosystem. For sure, I mean the community, eventually is very powerful. I think with all the project or all the investor and all the communities trying to explain this idea, I think one day it's an open community, right? So I think eventually it will help Polkadot become better, and for sure for the big things we need to go through the governance process. Then Kevin Wood and his team need to notice that first. Then we go to governance process. But the other thing is that the more we can do, the better the Polkadot will be, right? So I hope I can trying to uh you know um work with everyone in this ecosystem and see how we can solve the problem and make it better. Thanks.